Welcome, everybody. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to change the world one brave word at a time. And today, here to help me with that, I have one of the authors of an upcoming book called Sacred Medicine, Mystical Practices for Ecstatic Living. Miss Kelly Meyerson, welcome.
Thank you.
So I'm happy to talk to you for so many reasons, but listeners, Kelly Meyerson is an author, a poet, and a sleep expert who will help you emerge from the overwhelm to lead and savor the life of your dreams. I love that bio, Kelly. So let's talk about your chapter. Tell me a little bit about the story of, how you got to writing this particular chapter, because you've been in several projects and your stories, and I'm in love with your poetry too, are amazing. So tell us about this one.
So when I talked to Jen about this project, first it was oh yes, to this project, absolutely anything I'm going to do with Laura DeFranco and Jen Piscino is going to be amazing. So yes, I'm in, and the idea of sacred medicine just really spoke to me. And then I thought about it. What is it that is my sacred medicine right now? What would the reader really respond to? And be able to put into practice in their lives to have an ecstatic life, one from which we don't need to take vacations all the time because we're not so burned out. And I realized what I've really come to use as a superpower in my life is rest, which seems like big drum roll. What is it? It's rest. Okay. So, it's not anything big and magical, but it is expansive and amazing. So what I've figured out for myself is that when I start with my schedule being, of course, blessed with sleep, because that's my foundation and basis, but that is also filled with opportunities for rest and joy, then I'm so much more available to other people in my life and so much more creative. And so I was like, this is what I want to show people how to do. How do you take those first small steps in using rest to your big advantage and not having it be something that is guilt-ridden and I really should be doing something right now?
Oh my gosh. I resonate. I get it. I know that a lot of people really resonate with that. And we've morphed into this guilt pattern of what, you guys? Not sleeping because you need to do the 10 other things on your list that are just going to be there tomorrow for you to do anyway. Yeah. So we could talk all day long about the importance of this, but I love what you said about it. Just simple, but it's complicated, So tell me something that you would tell the listener as that stepping stone place. If their sleep sucks right now, then what would be first level thing?
I think if your sleep is really in a bad place, what is the piece of sleep that's not working for you? So is it you can't fall asleep because your mind is too busy? Is it that your bedroom is a disaster and you just sort of avoid that? Or is it that you've just overfilled your day with so many things to accomplish and you're a sleep procrastinator? So the moms will resonate with that because, you want to accomplish so much. You want to be a great mom. You want to do all the things that you do during the day. And you sort of say, well, I'm going to decide to go to bed a little bit later. So I have that little teeny bit of time for myself. So the first thing you can do, which seems funny, but you're going to start at the beginning of your day with giving yourself some time. And there are millions of different options for a morning routine. For me, it's being able to tune into myself and figure out what is it that I really need in this moment, in this day, and what can I give to myself? So sometimes it's as simple as I need to sit, drink my coffee, have silence, and just breathe. And that, even for 5 minutes, can have magical implications for my whole day.
I love that so much. And those moments are sacred for me. I know that you would agree. So I was going to have a moment there if I thought I was going to choke on my coffee. I'll make a little cough. Okay, saved. Jen Pisano, thank you so much for your mission and vision for this book, right? Sacred Medicine. I love what she did when she started to think about other ways to live, living ecstatically. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But for now, why sacred medicine? How did we put those two words together, right? Talk about that for a minute.
I think about it in terms of like medicine is just historically something we take when we're sick, right? But creating a life with sacred medicine, these are the things that ensure our longevity, our sustainability, you know, things that we put into practice that heal us, make us feel more whole. And so it's a holistic approach. It's not just, I'm going to do this thing for the moment because it makes me feel better in the moment. It's this continuum of how can it get better and then get better and then get better and then get better. And so it's affording us the ability to be all the things we want to be in our lives with joy.
Okay, so this is so awesome. Speaking of that joy, the other word we put in this title of this book is ecstatic. Okay, so I mean, there was a point when my knowing that there was more to life was screaming in there inside of me. And I hadn't been listening to those whispers. So my body started to shout a little bit louder. And I believe that like as a society, we've gotten really good at the suffering. It's time to understand what's possible in terms of that joy, right? So what do you want to share about this? Like that possibility of living an ecstatic life, not just a so-so life.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for it, right? That possibility that, I speak in the chapter about like commuting can be a joyful activity. It doesn't have to be, oh my gosh, I have to get in the car and sit in traffic. Now I'm like, ooh, traffic? That's more time for myself. Like this is just the universe being like, here you go. Here's a little chance to slow down and look at your surroundings. So I think part of that is present moment awareness. So being able to sit in the moment and really recognize the things for which you can be so grateful. I think I spent so many years of my life, what is the next thing? I forgot to be grateful for the thing that I prayed for before that was here now. And I think so many of us do that. It's this train that we get on and it's like, I've got to get somewhere. I've got to keep moving. And I'm like, nah, I want to get off and see what's over here because there's got to be something else, something more than just always being in achievement mode, or being stuck in that place of suffering, And I think that's where people can get a little confused and be like, well, you say you're going to have an ecstatic life. You can't be in ecstasy all the time. But what if you can? But what if you could? Wouldn't you want that for your life? And what if the answer to that is as simple as putting these sacred practices into place? Because it just cultivates space and time where you're existing in a state of presence, joy, gratitude. And because of that, the version of yourself that you're offering to the rest of the world is so much more expanded and joyful and peaceful that it becomes contagious.
And you become that change. That's why this is world changing. Yes, with an exclamation point. That present moment awareness in general is my favorite topic of all time. It is everything. It is the magic, the miracle. It is your opportunity to change anything. So this past year, we've had a tough year. A lot of people have had a tough time, and piled on top of their stress that was already there came extra stuff. And now what? And then you find yourself in the pit. But I think this thing that you're hitting on really is the most important thing. If I can stop and realize I'm up here adding baggage to my baggage in terms of thinking and thoughts and misery, right in that moment is the opportunity to smell the rose, breathe the air, be grateful for that thing that I was praying to have that I actually have, right? And I forgot, and I'm just on to the next achievement. Talk to me more about that awareness practice in your own life. What's another example where you had to kind of wake yourself up to that?
Yeah, I think it happens every day. Like that awakening to like this is a choice, Kel. Like I tell myself like this is a choice. This could take you down. You could certainly I very easily drift into that lane of anxiety and perfectionism and so I'm like, but that's not what I choose for myself. I choose to exist in a state of gratitude and to allow myself, I give myself permission to arrive in my life imperfectly, to make mistakes, to see everything as happening for a reason. I mean, and so many of us can go back and we can look at things that have happened to us. Okay, so you've had trauma. You know, I had a divorce in my 20s from a very traumatic marriage. And at the time, abandoning that marriage seemed terrifying and like that was going to be painful and not the right thing, and it turned out to just put me on this path of detoxifying my life. So making the choice in the moment of accepting the moment for what it is, but then also you get to choose how you respond. Okay, so I can't choose or not choose traffic, right? Maybe I can pick a different way to go. But if there's traffic, I live in New Jersey. Okay, so if there's traffic, there's traffic. It's everywhere. So I get to choose, like, what am I going to do with this moment in time? And it's that continuously coming back to the present. I love Eckhart Tolle and literally used to listen to him on my commute and be like, okay, Eckhart is giving me the wisdom in this moment to deal with this moment. That I'm breathing, I'm being, I'm, opening my periphery to see what's around me. And so it's not that I don't have days where I feel sad or upset or things don't go wrong. It's that in those moments, I choose to use my tools to pull me back into gratitude and a state of being where my energy continues to be big. I might not be high vibe in the moment, but this could be a moment that is relatable to other people that I can then write and speak about, that I have a chance to do something different in this moment and make a shift. So it's about being very empowered as a person. And I think we're used to hearing these moments as miraculous moments and these stories of like amazing, overcoming. But I think we do them every day, some of us, and I resonate with what you said about mindset. And anytime I'm here, I'm like, whoop, I gotta check in with who's engaging with me right now in my head. Is it my intuition and higher power, or is it my inner critic or my ego? And how do I get more embodied? So deep breathing, using your senses, love essential oils for just shifting that mindset to be aware of what is real and what do I have control over and what can I do?
So Eckhart was one of my, people too, broke open my knowledge of awareness to another level. It was fun to watch him and Oprah when they did that series on the New Earth. I love that. I think the thing that you just said, I was writing it down. In those moments, I choose, and you just said it all right there, but you have to be observing to be able to choose. With awareness, you've got the choice. So that's the practice we're talking about. I'm kind of talking to our listeners right now. When you stop and take the deep breath and notice how that feels inside of you, okay, now you're coming into the moment, right? If you're listening to all of the to-do list, the future anxiety stuff, or the past regret stuff, you just lost your embodied, grounded, centered space. And so you don't have an opportunity. You're just caught up in what's going on in your head, right? So I wanted to bring that a little teaching moment of this, because I think sometimes, well, not sometimes, this is a lifelong practice, right? Like, how long did it take you to, and I'm going to play with you, get it, master it, right? We never master it, but tell me about that process for you.
I I would say it probably like finally getting it was like instant, but the
Yeah.
practice to get to that instant was like a decade long, you know. But it was like I took my high achievement mentality and I put it towards, but how can I get better at me, at understanding myself, at existing in less stress. And so I was like, okay, what else can I try? What else? What else is possible? What else is out there for me? And so I used what I knew I already had as a skill set. So I think it's that knowing yourself so well that I know what the pitfalls are, but I also know what my skills are. And I'm a great researcher and I'm great at trying new things. And so it was continuously like, what else can I add? And what else can I do? Um, and we've talked about this in the past, like getting to that point quicker, getting from that point of like, I'm stuck. I decide I'm stuck and saying, but I'm not. That's a choice. I could choose not to be stuck and ask myself, what else is possible? So I feel like in the past year, I've got that. That is my tool, and it brings me back to the present every time.
Yes, it does. Me too. Me too. That's been the exact practice. The faster it happens, the better, because I get to choose joy, and joy heals me from the inside out. And why wouldn't we want more of that? Okay, so let's spend a minute circling back to the sleep, because I think that that is one of the places where, when I practiced this awareness, I realized needed more of it. And I needed more moments of rest that were deep and complete. And if I would have taken that kind of power nap, I'd be set up for more productivity. So people don't get it. They don't want to slow down because they think they're going to miss out on the time to do stuff. But if they slow down and take it, they can do more stuff. Right? Talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. So it's like in the moment we're at a crossroads. Am I gonna get a good night of sleep, or am I gonna be more productive? And we feel like we have to choose between the two. No, no, no. You get to have both. So if you want to be the best version of yourself, I love it because, you know, my background's in occupational therapy, yours is in physical therapy. So we've studied the body. We get how the body and the brain work and how it works together, right? So our bodies optimize with a certain amount of sleep. So there's no magic behind it. It's just humans and how we're designed. So if you're getting enough sleep, you're healing, your mind is rested. So the version of yourself that wakes up in the morning is ready to be more productive. So, what I learned, and I feel like I've learned to do exquisitely, is the time that I have is so well managed that I can accomplish more than most people, because I've put practices and habits and mindset work into place, and I've set up my environment to support me. So it is simple, but it is also work. And I think what I talk about in my chapter is, yes, you're going to prioritize rest, but that's going to really be available to you because the time that you have to be productive is productive. You've automated, you've delegated, you have systems and processes that are making your life and the work that you do more effective.
I was just writing something else down from what you were saying. That version of yourself that wakes up in the morning, if you've had the right amount of sleep, right, is more productive. I love that. And it's different for everybody. You know, I've gotten into the groove of 7 to 8 hours at night, and when I'm getting it, man, I am unstoppable. And for other people, it's different, right?
Yeah, it can
Yeah.
be, I mean, it can absolutely vary. And there's also different chronotypes of like people who are, you've heard of like traditional night owl, or people who like to get up really early.
That's me.
Yeah, right. So, and certainly the world is designed for those of us who get up early and then you're working from 9 to 5 and then you rest. So when I've worked with clients, you have to understand yourself so well to know when your most productive time is. I know mine is 5 to 7 a.m. I just know that. And so I plan my life and my rest and my sleep around that. But if your most creative time is from 10 p.m. to 12, then you use that, you get your 8 hours of sleep, and you do your self-care in the morning. There's nothing wrong with that. It's really individualizing it with an honoring of who you are, what you love, what you do, and also how your body functions best. So that's a lot of the good work too. And it can be fun. I mean, figuring out, like you probably did a lot of trial and error to figure out 7 to 8 hours is my magic time. For me, it's like if I can get a little bit north of 8, like that's where I'm amazing. If it's anywhere south of 7, I'm not as functional.
We want amazing, don't we?
Yeah.
So speaking of your clients, tell me a little bit about what you have going on right now. How do you offer these services?
So I've made it super simple because that's my thing. So people can go to my website, they can find the link. I do quick sleep checks for like a 15-minute phone conversation. So we see if it's a good fit for you. I work with people on looking at their environment, their mindset, and their habits and recreating those. And so I have different options depending on what people are really looking for. There's some people who are just looking to figure out what is that underlying issue. I can do that for you. But there's also people who are looking to optimize their sleep and rest in order to accomplish bigger things. People who have hit that upper limit and they're like, I think I missed the boat somewhere and I need to tune these little things, and I can help with that as well. And I'm always looking for how I can do it better. I mean, the more sleep and the more rest I get, the better I feel, and the more expansion I have and availability to help people at higher and higher levels.
And you guys are going to find Kelly at beingwellwithkelly.com. Just scroll down. I've got you linked up down there in the show notes. Kelly, the services you provide can be a game changer. So now I'm talking to our listeners. If you're struggling with sleep and you need that little check, just, maybe there's some things you haven't thought of yet, and a simple shift will be a big change for your rest. This is going to be so well worth it. Thank you so much, Kelly, for what you're doing in the world and for being here today to share it with us.
Thank you.
I also want to just say a personal thank you for your support of me and Brave Healer Productions and all of the amazing book projects that you have signed up and said yes for. It takes a warrior to show up, say yes, put your words out loud into the world. Sometimes, in the beginning, it was for the first time. Now you're a pro, girl. You've had books and things, and you're working on your own projects. So listeners, go take the next step and click on Kelly's website and see all of the amazing things that she is up to. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
So listeners, please make sure to join us on September 8th at 10 a.m. Eastern on the Brave Healer Productions Facebook page, because we're going to have a live stream book launch party for Sacred Medicine, Mystical Practices for Ecstatic Living. And we can't wait to see you there. The authors, all of them will be there to share their wisdom. And we're going to have some giveaways that day for our book purchasers. And another special benefit is that Jen Pisano is offering readers a special Facebook group community called Mystic Circle. So I'll also have you linked up with that down below, but hop over there because you're going to be able to rub elbows with authors, ask them questions, continue this sleep conversation with Kelly if you want to. Big benefit of being here. And lastly, everybody, your words change the world when you're ready and brave enough to share them. What if that thing that you're still a little afraid to share is exactly what someone needs to hear to change or even save their life? It's time to be brave. See you next time, everyone. Thank you, Kelly.